For our cultural plunge, we went to the Bee community and the Aggieland Autism Center. So we chose the disabled culture, and my name's Melissa.
My name's Kaylee.
My name's Kendall.
And my name is Emma.
So the disability culture gives people a sense of identity and belonging. Society is constructed in a way in which it individualized disability and isolates disabled people. Disability culture continues to change and grow stronger, but the disability community also needs non-disabled people to address their own personal biases to achieve true disability inclusion. At the end of the presentation, we hope that you all can learn something new about the disability culture, as well as why it is important to society. So first, we will be talking about the Bee community. So some history of the Bee community is it started in September of 2018. The Bee officially started at Grace Bible Church Southwood campus with 7 original artisans establishing the unique Bee culture. And then they moved to a new home. The Bee exceeded the capacity at the church and moved to its own facility. The retail store opened shortly after, creating more access to the community. It has continued to grow, and with the need continuing to present itself, the Bee doubled in size, employing 14 artisans focusing on refining their craft, and they launched their online store. For part of our cultural plunge, we attended the Bee community. The Bee community is located at 3819 Old College Road in Bryan, Texas. It is a store that has an area where you can purchase all of the items that they make, and then it has rooms in the back where they work. While here, we learned more about the workers. They are called artisans because they make things by hand. Bee artisans craft high-quality products like soaps, candles, dog treats, stationery, and jewelry. The leaders of the Bee community want everyone, regardless of ability and capacity, to experience the dignity and purpose that comes from employment. While there, we got to go inside the store and got to walk around and hear about all the different items they make, and we got to purchase some different items. It was very informative and eye-opening experience. To learn that 95% of adults with disabilities in Texas are unemployed was hard to hear. It was great to know that the Bee community offers these individuals a place where they can work as well as grow as a person. So these images are from the Bee community website, and they are items that the artisans make that you are able to purchase either online or in the store.
The next part of our cultural plunge was visiting the Aggieland Autism Center. The Aggieland Autism Center was a cultural plunge with autistic children. It was held at their facility in College Station. When we were there, we learned that autistic children should receive specialized support before entering the school system. The training that takes place should follow the child's own motivation and take place in settings that look like real-world environments. This means that the environments we saw were very similar to households that the autistic children might see on their own. It meant that following their own motivation, if the student wanted to go outside and play, then the behavioral therapist would follow them outside. If they wanted to work indoors and maybe work on math skills, communication skills, sight, then they would follow them inside to work on those things. While we were there, we toured the facility and observed their behavioral therapists' interactions with autistic children. Their main building was modeled exactly like a house, and their barn had a few more rooms with toys and equipment for children to play with. It was very loud in some of these rooms as some of the children were crying and trying to get over certain parts they could learn from, and the behavioral therapists were communicating with one another in the background. I expected this to be an indoor facility with classrooms similar to how a school would be set up, but really we found a facility that was on land with a house and barn and horses and other animals outside. They also had playgrounds where the students could run and play. My preconceptions were not validated. This experience impacted the way that I view my culture and the culture of others. It made me more aware of how important it is for children with autism to receive support at such a young age and be in environments that feel familiar to the ones they are in back home. This will change my experience with teaching and interacting with others because it taught me how effective positive reinforcement can be with autistic children or with other children who struggle with communication. I'll implement this into my future classroom by trying to use positive reinforcement as a motivation for them. Here are some pictures of the facilities that we toured. The first one is a side picture of the house, and you can see the playground is off to the side there. The second picture is one of the back barns and a blow-up bounce house. And then the first picture indoors has backpacks hanging where the children leave all their stuff. And the fourth picture shows the kitchen where they eat and have meals together.
Okay, so for pop culture and alternative views, this video is a video about Mary Borman, who is a Special Olympics athlete. And what it shows is how people typically tend to lowball the capabilities of people with disabilities like Down syndrome, when they can accomplish great things, just like everyone else. It's just that preconceived idea and bias that we put on them. And then there was an article that I read, and it's called "The Stigma, Accepting, and Belonging for People with IDD Across Cultures." And it's from the National Library of Medicine. And it talks about the negative effects that these societal stigmas have, like internalization of these beliefs, discrimination, and lack of acceptance for people with IDD. And then pop culture views for the Aguilera Autism Center. There is a show on Netflix called Atypical, and it follows the life of an autistic teen named Sam and his family. His family struggles with not knowing the line between recognizing that he is different, but not holding him back from normal experiences like dating and college. The second is a quote, and it's "Autism is just one word, trying to describe millions of different stories." And this is a post by a dad. His name is James Hunt, and he has two autistic sons, and he blogs his life on social media so other families feel less alone. And this post shows the diversity within the spectrum of autism and how different each person's experience with autism is. And then making connections to the readings that we had in class. I used our diversity consciousness textbook for these. So one of them is "Social forces even shape the way we view our success. Social barriers focus more on society. They refer to those factors that are external to the person and impede her or his success. Bias, it creates conflict, siphons off people's talents and energies, and leads to the underutilization of human potential. And if you are communicating with someone from a different culture, the two of you may interpret the same symbol differently." I feel like all of these embody how society's views on people with disabilities can impact them, not just impact them in ways like them limiting their own success or us limiting. And then it also understanding that and knowing that we can help them understand their potential. And then also understanding that since we are different, there are we need to communicate better and more effectively and have that understanding. And then for the principles of multicultural education and constructivism, we have for the principles of multicultural education. In multicultural education, oral and nonverbal communication patterns between students and teachers are analyzed and changed to increase the involvement of students in the learning process. And multicultural education must start where people are. That way we can understand where students are and help them grow from there, and also understand that we can't teach and understand that there are different ways to communicate with students and help them grow rather than just teaching with what we think is correct, having that communication and understanding between you and your students. And then for constructivism, seek and value students' point of view and assess student learning within the context of teaching. For number 3, it's really important to understand where students are coming from and not just going off of what we know, being able to see from their side and see how things might be in their life, and then to assess their learning. And that way we can grow and change our teaching strategies and our teaching style to better fit them.
Okay, so for the latest research, according to autismparentingmagazine.com, the latest research from the CDC shows that 1 in 36 children are diagnosed with autism annually. The CDC also reported that more than a quarter of autistic 8-year-olds have profound autism. Additionally, the prevalence of profound autism in Black children is 76% higher than in other ethnicities. The article, Autism Statistics You Need to Know in 2024, suggests that half of the children in the United States will have autism by 2025. Research has also shown that children with autism struggle with anxiety disorders and symptoms of ADHD. In addition, children on the spectrum struggle with getting adequate sleep and meeting acceptable BMI standards. Future teachers need to be aware of these statistics as they are incredibly important when one is trying to foster an effective learning environment. The symptoms associated with autism can often interfere with the child's ability to learn and their behavior in the classroom. As future educators, we must improve our understanding of this disorder so we can foster an inclusive and comfortable environment. We must ensure that we pay special attention to students, but we must also be careful to not make them feel singled out or discriminated against.
So for our assessment questions, question 1 is what percentage of adults with disabilities in Texas are unemployed? Question 2, why do you think it is important for autistic children to receive support before entering the school system? 3, why is it important for people of the disability culture to feel a place of belonging in the workplace? And our last question, why is it important for society to better understand the disability culture?
For our teaching strategies, we said that you can explain the difference in thinking and communication between normal children and autistic children. This can be especially understood through showing them videos of how autistic children communicate with others. You could also plan a sensory activity to help model and explain that autistic children struggle with being under or oversensitive to specific senses. This is very different from how we normally take in senses.
So for my reflection, after attending both the Bee Community and the Aggieland Autism Center, I was able to have a much better understanding on the disabled culture and community. From the Bee Community, I learned how important it was for people with a disability to feel like they have a place of belonging in the workplace where they feel comfortable and welcomed. While visiting the Aggieland Autism Center, it was a very eye-opening experience. It was very neat to see how the employees interact with the students, as well as helping them grow and getting them prepared to go into the school system. In my opinion, the way the Aggieland Autism Center is ran is very beneficial in the students' growth by utilizing the unique environment and atmosphere and incorporating rewards. I am very glad I was able to attend both of these places as I gained a deeper understanding of this disabled culture.
All right. Being able to go to both the Bee Community and the Aggieland Autism Center was an amazing experience because we got to see a variety of disabilities represented, but we also got to observe different age groups. The Bee Community is a great example of empowering people with disabilities and not limiting what they're capable of. The Aggieland Autism Center is a great place that understands that no two cases of autism are the same and tries to meet children where they are and help them before they go to school. The experience helped me better understand how important it is the way that we interact with students and continue to help them reach their full potential, and also understand them better to help teach them in the way that is best for them.
From this cultural plunge, I learned how important it is for people with autism to have a place in their community and to be able to function normally in it. The Bee Community is so special in that it provides a supportive community and workplace for people with autism. Aggieland Autism Center also plays a great role by providing children with the proper training so that they are prepared to enter the school system in years to come. The behavioral therapists at the Aggieland Autism Center have such a hard job, but also a very rewarding one. In our visit there, we saw the patience their workers had, even with the strong defiance of children who simply don't know any better. It can be so hard for us to understand that people with autism naturally think and communicate very differently from us, but it's very important that we learn to overcome those barriers, and I was very encouraged by the work of places that we visited.
Exploring the Aggieland Autism Center and the Bee Community gave me a greater appreciation for those serving and working with those who have autism. Through this experience, I was able to immerse myself in the culture that the centers fostered. It was extremely insightful and allowed me to have a greater understanding of the challenges facing those diagnosed with autism. I was also able to see how the caretakers handle the children, and it was amazing to see how caring and attentive they were to their needs. The BEAT community was designed to hire those on the spectrum, and it was clearly effective in helping those with autism. The Aggieland Autism Center was very interactive and inviting. It was evident how much each specialist loved and cared for the children, and it was inspiring to see those on the spectrum thriving and living up to their full potential. Oftentimes, it can be difficult to understand what these children go through, but by experiencing the BEAT community and Aggieland Autism Center, I was able to understand to a small extent what they go through each day.